Hello, hello mi gente, bienvenidos a un episodio más de Trascendencia en Acción. Soy la doctora Xochitl Yadira y es un honor como siempre estar con ustedes. Este episodio lo vamos a hacer en Spanglish, la mayoría en inglés, así que ya saben, váyanse a YouTube y no se les olvide poner las captions. Así de que let's get started. So welcome Nashalee.
Yes.
I'm like, I have to say your name properly because we are competing names over here. How do you say your name? Bienvenida.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's such a pleasure to finally make this work. So I met you a while ago in an amazing event that you hosted because you are, I call you the reina de las tapas.
Okay.
But your business is, what is your business called?
Tapas Ricas by Nashalee.
Awesome. So let's get to know you a little bit for the people that don't know you, a little bit about your history, and we'll end talking about your business and how that idea came about and what you're up to. Does it sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So let us know. Where you originally from? How did you get here to Milwaukee? Have you always been here on Milwaukee? Tell us.
Yes, so I am born and raised in Milwaukee, 414.
Yay.
My family is actually from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
My parents were born in Puerto Rico, but then we migrated over here. And when my parents were both like in their teenage years, and then they met, and then there's me. So I've been living here my entire life. I lived in Puerto Rico for a little bit when I was a kid, but other than that, I have been a Milwaukeean.
Oh, that's amazing. And we have talked numerous times here before that there's something about Milwaukee, right? That when you come here, you're like, oh, well, we'll see how it goes. And then fast forward a whole life later.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I think it's hard to leave Milwaukee when it becomes home.
Yeah.
And when you're so comfortable being in the space. But it's home. And I love being from Milwaukee. It's crazy and it has its issues and it has its battles. But where it doesn't have that.
It wouldn't be normal if it didn't.
Right. It would be different.
Yeah. So you grew up here in Milwaukee. Tell us a little bit about that childhood. Where did you grow up? In which area of Milwaukee? How was that coming up and growing up for you?
Yeah, I grew up on 27th and Orchard.
Okay.
So right across the street from, I don't know if it's a nun ministry or a senior home place, but it's right. It was in a busy street. I was raised by my grandmother. So that was a whole trajectory of events. But yeah, I was raised there. I was not much of an outside kid. I was definitely a DSI and watch a lot of movies kid. But yeah, busy street. So I wasn't allowed to be outside that often.
Yeah, I can relate. I was grown up in the South Side, so I'm a South Side girl here. Yep. But it was definitely tough times. And I would say back then, obviously, there was a lot of more like gang activity and things like that.
Yeah, as I've heard, my parents would tell me.
Yeah. So I can relate why, your loved ones would be like, no going outside, especially in certain things. Was there certain parts of your childhood, like what school did you go to that you like feel now as an adult that you're like, oh, that definitely is like ingrained in me and like those memories that have helped you become who you are today?
I'm a Seeds of Health baby. So I went to Winlake Elementary, Winlake Academy, and then Veritas High School. Okay. So it's always been charter schools and smaller classrooms, smaller just spaces.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was always able to be seen by my teachers, especially when, there was issues going on at home and transitions were happening. I feel like I was definitely being given the opportunity to have great teachers that helped shape who I am today. And to this day, I'm very much connected to a lot of them, which is really nice.
That's awesome. And we always talk about the importance of having a strong support system growing up. And so I was glad to hear that you had that. What were some of those pivotal moments as you were growing up that have shaped who you are today?
Yeah.
So was it like high school, middle school?
So trauma dump. My mom passed away when I was 6 years old.
Oh no.
And my dad has been in and out of jail since I was a kid, so I don't have a relationship with him. So when I say refer to my parents, I mean my grandmother.
Yeah.
And even then, it was a very difficult relationship. You know, she was an older Puerto Rican, old school Latina, and so she had a lot of expectations for me as a woman and as a young adult, and it definitely reflected in the way that she instilled a lot of discipline and a lot of like la educación es primero, and like you have to do your education. And she was like, if I got a B, I would get in trouble. You know, that's how serious it was. So I think in high school, I learned how to independizarme, and I learned how to do a little bit of everything, so that I can prepare myself for college. Like that was always the end goal for me. And it was always what my grandma wanted to see me achieve. Fun fact, she passed away right when I finished high school. But that was like, I think that was like la promesa that she had. Like, I'm going to take you until there. But after that, like, you have to figure it out. And college was very difficult for me. I was going through a lot of church trauma and like breaking up from the Pentecostal beliefs and stuff like that. And then learning all about queerness and learning about oppression and learning about the systems that we're a part of. Because being in Milwaukee too can also make you a little ignorant, because we're so segregated, so we don't even understand all the issues that are happening within our own communities and then communities outside of our own. And so I was pushed to learn a lot about the real world in college. But high school was definitely like the pivotal moments that helped shape like a discipline in me. But college was where it was like, okay, this is the real shit. This is the real reality of things.
Here's and shit hits the fan.
And it hit the fucking fan. It really did. I suffered from depression after my grandma passed away. And it was just a very dark time for me. And then, you get into relationships with boys, and then boys are not good to you, and then all of that just transpires into you being crazy for a little bit, and then it clicks, and then you settle down, and then you breathe, and then like peace comes into your life. And I feel like when people ask me like, how are you, I try and say I'm at peace, because I've worked so hard to be in a stable relationship, in a stable life. I don't have a stable career, but we're working on that. We'll get we'll get there. But overall, it's been a learning journey, but it's taken me to a spot where I don't think I'd change anything that I've gone through to be at now.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for being vulnerable and opening up about that, because I have shared very many times here that oftentimes it's not something that we do as a discipline, especially Latinos, where we open up about these vulnerable and very sensitive topics, but that are so needed. It's like these are taboos in our community. Like, the whole, we don't talk about Bruno. Like we don't talk about our traumas. We don't talk about our past. We don't talk about our childhood. But these are things que nos marcan, that really, really leave an imprint and that define who we become in the future. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go back to something you said, those moments that made you and broke you throughout the journey of, going from, dysfunctionality within, parents at a time, and then you lost your mom very young. So sorry to hear that. And then having a very strong, grandmother figure, that it was kind of like this heavy burden, that it's a blessing in disguise, right? But at the same time, it's like putting the world on your shoulders. So like, you get to be the first one, you get to do this, you get to do that. And then it's like you wear that armor on you that hurts and is heavy. And then we'll get a little bit more into your adulthood life now and relationships. But, you mentioned something. Obviously, with all of that, there was so much happening in your development and learning. And then you had an end goal in mind, which was going to college, get a career. In those moments, as you know, now reflecting back and looking back, although you wouldn't change anything, we still have a lot of young adults kind of going through similar situations right now. And even still in modern times, we still see a lot of this still happening in our community. What would you say were those lessons that held you together and keep you grounded to be able to, in a way, survive those circumstances?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just, I always knew that it was temporary, and I knew that this wave would pass. And even though I have church trauma, during that time, I was very religious, and I held on to God and what we deem God to be. And I just felt like God would save me every time. Like every time I thought that the world would be a better place without me, I felt like God was like, no, like that's not true. And there would be so many people that would be in pain if they didn't get to experience you. And one thing that I read was, I was like scrolling on Facebook, you know, when you're sad and like everything just hits home and you're like, wow, why is every post just about me? But there was one post that said, you still haven't met all the people that are going to love you.
Oh,
and I think that always held true and dear to me, because I have met so many people from that. My life is so different from my childhood now. Like nothing is the same. No people are the same. I've created my chosen family. And so it's crazy to think how I would have missed out on all of this love and peace if I didn't, you know, just keep it pushing.
Yeah. I love that message. I really do, because I having going through a leadership program, and they talk a lot about that, is that when you transcend to a different dimension of life, there's no way around all the hardship. The only way around it is through it. And no matter how hard life can get, you have to get through it, because that's where the lessons come. That's where the beauty on what's next comes. And what you just said is so powerful, because oftentimes we find love in others that can love us without judgment, without prejudice, without anything that sometimes we don't find in our own family. And so that, you know, I'm glad that that held true for you. As you were getting off those years and going, you know, through all those traumas, when you got to college, you mentioned there were some pivotal moments that it was like, holy, like shit hit the fan. Let's not revive the trauma parts, but let's talk about the lessons, the beauties that came after those lessons. And now you can look back and say, that needed to happen exactly that way to lead me to this that just happened. Now, do you have any moments like those?
I would say one day I woke up and I was like, I'm going to start doing affirmations.
Nice.
And this was, I would say, my sophomore year of college. I was a semester behind because I decided to withdraw for a semester, or I was just not going to be okay and fail all my classes. So I decided to do that stuff for myself and for my mental health. And I was crying in my new apartment, and I was alone for the first time in my life. And I was like, holy shit, I am so done not loving myself. Like, wow. I am so done making me feel like letting these emotions guide me and letting these emotions make me feel like I'm not worthy or I'm not deserving. And so like I said, sometimes things just click for me. Like, I think you just get those epiphanies in life where you're just like, ay, ya basta. Ya no ma, you know?
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. And sometimes you need that tough love with your own self, which is something that I worked through my therapy too, because I also can't be too rough on myself all the time. But at the same time, it was like that little voice in my head that was like, ya parate. and like sigue and keep going, and like you're beautiful and you're smart and you're courageous and you're resilient and you can keep it pushing. And I think it's that same voice that I had when I was a kid. Like, you just got to keep it pushing. You got to keep it going. So yeah.
I love that. I so love that. And one of the things that I have gotten very involved very lately is because I am a huge advocate for mental health. And as a mother of LGBTQ children, you understand there's a lot that our world needs right now in terms of love and understanding and being empathetic and all of those things. One of the things that it's a sad reality, and we have seen the numbers drastically increase when it comes to depression and suicide and things like that. And shout out to my madrina, Mariel, who is one of the huge advocates for suicide prevention here in Milwaukee, and that she's spun out a whole now in Spanish too for our community. But let's talk about that, if you allow me, on those dark moments, because I love the beautiful message you just said of the self-talk and self-love. And now that you think and reflect back in those dark moments of depression, what did depression look like for you? And you can go as deep as you want or keep it high level. I want to be respectful of that. But the reason I want to mention is because I know there's a lot of people going through that right now that sadly don't even recognize that it's depression.
Yeah, I think for me, I've experienced the range of what depression may look like. In college, what I felt was just in bed all the time. I would skip class. I wouldn't even shower. I would eat one thing of marucha once a day, and that was my fuel. I was just in a hole. And then I had moments where I just cried, and I couldn't stop crying. But I've also had moments where I was just enraged, where I was just pissed off. And I would tell people, like, I would tell my therapist, like, I don't know why I'm so angry, but I'm just so fucking angry. Like, even just driving makes me so angry. And she's like, why are you so angry? And I'm like, I don't know. And then deep down, it was my depression, and it was that. And I'm so thankful that I don't feel that heaviness of depression. I suffer from anxiety. We got chronic anxiety over here. And you know what? We deal with what we got, but depression looked like so many range of things for me, and I've learned that so many people experience that as well, and it's heavy. It can be very heavy.
Yeah, no, and I thank you for sharing that. I can share, and I've shared this before in other episodes. I experienced severe depression in my early 20s to the point where I, at one point, considered taking my life because I felt I didn't have a purpose. And it was a lot of understanding what it was, because a lot of my depression manifested as a very highly functional depression.
Yeah.
So I would like over-occupy so that I would keep my mind, but that occupying didn't leave room for me to heal. And it was just creating a bigger and darker hole to a point where I was like, what am I doing? Right. And I think we see it even more now. I was reading an article that says the silent killer of today's modern environment. So this doom scrolling that sometimes we do, it's literally, there's research showing that is directly related. I don't have the numbers on top of me, but it's a very big number that's directly related to the highly functional depression that we are experiencing in today's modern society. And there's tactics behind social media of why they want to like almost like numb you out through content that sometimes instead, if you're not careful what you're watching, it can take you into a deep hole. And I don't know about you, but I've been through most recent experiences where I would be really like not feeling myself. And then somehow magically, because we already know how the algorithms work with social media, I'll be like doom scrolling. And then like things like sayings or poems or songs or whatever videos will pop up that would just be like dark and sad. And instead of like uplifting me, it would like, oh my God, why am I reading this? This is telling me. And then it'll be like just stuff that it hit me. I was like, wow, it's almost like this content instead of uplifting me in the moment, because we have to be very careful right now that at this point we should all know that our phones listen to us and Alexas listen to us. So when we're talking about things, that content is going to pop out for you.
Yeah.
And if you don't pay attention, that can be detrimental even more for your mental health. And so I bring this up because we have a lot of young people, especially where as parents, and I have a 23-year-old and a 19-year-old and an 11-year-old. And it's a constant reminder that sometimes we as adults get so busy in life. And if you have if you're an aunt or if you're an adult, check on your little ones too, because this content, this doom scrolling is affecting more and more the younger and kids. The elder generations.
Yeah.
Because all of our folks that are retired, like La Abuelita, on Facebook, on TikTok, watching all this nonsense sometimes, and that can have a really detrimental effect on mental health. So it's a point of watch, because it's something that sadly hasn't gone away, and it's just gotten better. Yeah. No, it's gotten worse. Sorry. And
especially with AI.
Exactly.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. It is unbelievable.
Listen, I'm a woman in tech, but I'm also one that I'm always advocating for being conscious of how you use technology. Use it to make you more efficient and help you improve and things like that, but do not use it to replace your thought process and who you are as human, right? So thank you for sharing that. So let's pivot a little bit. So then, as you start, adulting and you get out of college, where did you go to college to?
I went to UW-Madison.
Okay. Yes. So then that was a whole experience. You went away, you stayed there.
Yes, I stayed there I lived there for a year and a half. And then I moved back home because COVID happened.
Okay.
So I moved back home during the time I was still talking to my dad. And then a few months later, I got an apartment. And so I have been on my own since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. And so once you transition back home and then adulting happens, what happened there? What was your degree on?
I was a major in human development and family studies.
Okay.
And I had a certificate in Chicano Latino studies.
Okay, nice. Yes. So were you able to apply right away?
Girl, no. Girl, no. I was doing, so my last semester of college was the semester that I launched my business.
Okay.
And I was able to support myself with some savings and also doing my business for a side hustle. I never expected it to grow in the capacity that it's grown in. But I was able to use that to support myself for a little bit. And then, savings started going and I ended up finding a job, but not until 6 months after I graduated. Okay. And I was applying to jobs and I was applying. And I was like, how do you $14 an hour for someone who got a bachelor's degree?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I ended up landing a job at Carmen High School.
Okay.
As one of their success program coaches, where I basically helped kids recover credits that they failed in past semesters through an online program. And they would take my class, and I would be more of a coach to them, and just be more real than the other teachers, because I wasn't specifically a teacher.
Right.
I was more like an advisor per se, and we would set goals, and we would just try to finish as many credits as we can so that they could graduate on time.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, even within that 6-month period, that's a big, career shift, and what a great way to even just give back to the community, because you're in a role of service. So that's big.
Yeah, I loved the job. I loved what I was able to do with the kids there. I still miss the kids to this day, and there's a few kids that keep in contact with me, and they're like, "You're still my favorite teacher." And I was like, "Yeah, I bet I was."
Yes, you were.
I was a cool teacher, I would like to say. But overall, I wasn't fulfilled. And I quickly realized that a 9-to-5 was just not for me.
Yep.
I was just miserable. And it got to the point where I was getting back to a dark place because I just felt like I wasn't doing anything of value. And that was a whole shift and a mind shift on its own, and which has landed me to where I am today.
Oh, and sometimes I was having a conversation with some colleagues that sometimes it might feel like a setback, and sometimes it might feel like, man, I've tried this, I've tried that, and like, man, am I failing? But I love how you just called it. It's just a shift. Yeah. It's literally just, tasting something. And if it doesn't go that way, then try something else, right? And it goes very hand in hand with your business, because that's all it is, about trying new things and pairing things up. So we'll go there in a minute. But that's awesome. At what point during this transition in life did the queer journey begin for you? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I think I was gay since I was a kid. I'm just going to be honest with you. When you're a kid and you have crushes and stuff like that, and I would like feel things towards girls, but it was quickly shut down by some rhetorics and ideologies that my grandma would share and say. And she was okay with gay men, but she hated gay women. Yeah. And so that, plus I started going to church. So that started shifting a lot in my brain. And then I kept up with my ideals, I would say, up until college. And then I would say, like, my second, third year of college, I started learning about a lot more queerness. I took a joteria class.
Oh,
that's
wow.
What it was called.
Really?
That's literally what it was called. And they talked a lot about, queerness in the Latino community.
The taboo of it.
Yeah. All of that. And it was a lot of like unlearning of what I was taught.
Rewiring the brain.
And in, when was it? I would say in 2022 was when I fully came out as bisexual. Okay. That was a year after I graduated college, and I just let my queerness open up, and I started dating women, and it was just a moment for me. Yeah. And then I ended up meeting my wife.
Shit, this is where I belong.
Like, okay, I can get jiggy with it. And so and then I ended up meeting my wife soon after. Aww. And we did the whole U-Haul lesbian journey, and it's we're married.
And you guys are happily married. Had a wonderful wedding.
Yes, we got married last year. We met, and then she deployed for 10 months. Yep. And then we still dated during that time. It was very difficult because it was a new relationship. Right. But
emotional probably too, right?
Very, very emotional. But you quickly realize that once you have open communication and honesty and trust with someone, that you can overcome even the distance. Yeah. And so we took 10 months to really learn and communicate and say what our feelings were. And she came home and she proposed, and I proposed back. And then we got married through the court, and then we had our big wedding a few months after. Yeah. And so it's been a year of being legally married, and in August it'll be a year of our big wedding.
Oh my God. I remember watching all the pictures. It was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing yourself to really fully embrace what you already knew was there. Yeah. And really unleashing the power within, and then unwiring so you could rewire, because that's a lot. That oftentimes a lot of our people in this community especially don't give themselves permission. Yeah. And they go through a whole life of sacrifice and covering things up. And my research actually for my doctorate was on parenting transgender children. Yeah. And so I had an opportunity to learn about a lot of families of young children or people that were minors, and they didn't come out to their loved ones until they were adults. Yeah. Because of el que dirán, or religious reasons or rejection or what have you. And it's very detrimental to see someone not living life to their full potential, not just identity wise, but embracing their whole self. So, thank you for allowing that. And so happy to see that, you've learned to really reconcile what it truly means to you and then meeting the love of your life for that. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey for myself and even for my wife too. Yeah. But when you know, and when you know that you have to live authentically yourself, and there's this part of you that needs to be voiced and needs to be acknowledged, and you want people who are going to be close to you to accept and love and fully embrace you for it. I think oftentimes people are like, oh, you can be gay, but keep it over there. And it's just no, I'm gay. Like I'm going to be gay, and I'm going to be gay everywhere I go. And I'm going to be loud, and I'm going to be, obnoxious about me being gay, because for so long we have been told that we can't be, and we can't be too much, and we have to fit a mold. And as a woman, I've already been told that for too long. And so as a queer woman, it's even more like, no, I don't want to be like that anymore. And I want to be around people that love on me and that love who I am and love all parts of me, and don't think, oh, well, I love you, but you're going to go to hell deep down. Like, I just don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because my research specializes in younger children. So anyone under 18, because the majority of most LGBTQ plus members, when they fully come out and they get to a point in adulthood where they're kind of like, I don't give a fuck what you think, I'm just going to be me. It's a whole journey, and by the time they get to that point, they went through so much suffering, right? Yeah. And sadly, when they're minors, the voices for them is the parents or their loved ones. Yeah. And yet, the loved ones are the first ones to mark them because of all this, religious or beliefs or, biases that they come up with. And at the same time, it's like, well, they only can come from where they come from. They can't be more than that. But it was a sad reality for the fact that when young children, especially as they're growing up, statistically, and this is part of what my research showed, someone's identity is defined as young as 2 to 3 years old. So by the time that child starts growing up and crawling, they already know what they feel that they identify. It's the adulthood that kind of clutters all of that with all the assumptions and beliefs and all these things. Yeah. And what happens through that transition, it's a pivotal time, because between the ages of 6 and 12 years old, if the parents don't see and embrace and let them be who they need to be, the child grows up with so many traumas that after 12, what happens is adolescence starts, right, in teenage years. And so it just creates a whole plethora of challenges. My own child came out to us very young. And at first, I was raised Catholic. All of my kids have gone through sacraments, and it was a whole rewiring. I part ways with my, typical church. The faith never went away, and believing in God never went away. But it was for me a huge realization that I remember clearly. We were in a couples group, and then the people at church, which, were more traditional, they were like, we're going to pray that your child heals. And I was like, oh my God, that hit hard, because this is my community that I lean on so much, so faithful. And I was hurting as a parent, and I wanted to understand, how do I love and support my child in this journey? But they didn't know how. Yeah. And at the same time, it was a huge, I can't be in a belief system that they think it's a disease or something. Correct. It's not. It's a life, and it's a choice. And so thank you for sharing that, because that is so important for our culture and our community to understand that the journey of a life or someone in the LGBTQ plus community is not a choice. And it's not like, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to decide to be queer. It doesn't happen like that.
I'm going to be gay today.
I feel like I'm going to, be that or be this. And it's interesting because I think I saw an article recently J-Lo's child. Okay. And there was a whole debate.
Oh, yes,
about, how they were going to be called and whether people identify them as a boy or a girl and then this and that. And I'm like, why do you care?
Right.
Let the child be a child, whatever they want to be. Like, just respect that. But as a society, we feel like we have the right to be naming people and box people. Like, yes. Listen, we're way past that. So,
yes, we're quick to categorize.
Absolutely. Yes. And something you said earlier, especially I feel here in Milwaukee, because we still have, sadly, this huge segregation. It's not just socioeconomically. Yeah. It's not just culturally. And it's not just based on our color or skin. It's literally based on gender as well. Yeah. It's a huge growing pain that we need to just get over it, because our city is so beautiful and is so welcoming. I mean, we host the largest LGBTQ pride parade all over the U.S. and we're still having these conversations. Like, seriously? Yes. Like, it's painful to see sometimes what our community will not accept. But at the same time, I think it's time for everyone to just be like, let people be people and embrace.
Yeah. It's 2026.
For God's sake.
I am so tired of arguing about same-sex marriage in the Supreme Court. Like, can you stop? Can we stop trying to make bills about same-sex marriage? Can we worry about the bigger things, the more important things? Can we make food affordable? Can we do things that are more accessible? Can we have more green spaces? Can we just focus on the more real things rather than focusing on who I'm sleeping with?
Amen.
Or what I have in between my pants. Like, we're not harming anyone, and we just want to exist, and we don't need special treatment, and we don't need any of that. We just want the right to live and not feel like and not have kids believe that they're better off dead.
Absolutely.
Than being queer and being loud about it.
Oh my God. Especially, I was part of the, leading into June Pride Month, I was part of a campaign that it was the concept of love is not just a word. It's not empty. It's not just the 4 letters. Like, what does that truly mean, right? And one of the big statistics, and I remember the number, but one of the big statistics was exactly what you just said. I'd rather have someone that knows that they're loved than someone that I need to be praying for at a funeral. Yeah. And it hit me hard, because I'm like, how many times we're still going through this in society, not understanding, like, yes, we're celebrating Pride. Yes, we're celebrating so much, but there's so much work that needs to be done in accepting. Yes. Just like, I even don't want to call it accepting, like, just mind your own damn business.
Right.
Seriously.
Like, you don't even have to like it. Like, you don't have to like it, but don't think that you have the right to tell me that I'm going to go to hell or that I should die because of it. Like, who are you? Aren't you a Christ follower and you're telling me that I should die? That's crazy work. That's crazy work.
Like, God didn't even dare to do that to its worst enemies, to turn their back on him. And here we are doing this to humanity. But we can go on a tangent about that topic, because I get very heated about it, and I get very like, oh hell no! Like, and we've had many experiences even with our youngest one going through the journey, and the number one thing when people ask me, "Oh, how are you handling this?" I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm a loving mother, and I have a loving child. Period. I don't need to go into details or share the what about and what about this. It's a hard journey." As a mom and as an adult, because I know how much hate there's on the world. Yes. I'm not worried about who my child is. I know who my child is.
Yeah, you're worried how the world's going to treat your child.
Exactly. And, I just really hope for this world to have more loving people. Yeah. And like I said, not even accepting, but people that respect the journeys and the lives of others. So, well, let's then talk about, so now you are embracing now the entrepreneurship journey. So then... Tapas Ricas, which is your business. Let's talk about it. When did it start then? When did you fully go on for it? How's that going? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I started Tapas Ricas when my last semester of college. So 2021. of September, I launched my business. So we're going on 5 years in this this September. So it's so exciting. Big plans, big events that I'm planning to celebrate. And I never thought that it was going to grow the way that it's grown. I always thought that it was just going to be a little side hustle, something that I did on the side. But it kind of just grew on its own, and more people were inviting me to events. More people were like, oh, you should do this and you should do that. And this is a good business for this. And like, just, it was very positive feedback. Mm-hmm. And I was getting a lot of support from very different places. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point where I knew that I got fired from the Carmen job. Because of lack of funding, of course. Yeah. And then I was already doing my business on the side, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah. I'm just going to do this full time. I applied to over 60 jobs.
I believe you.
None of them got back to me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I have something that can grow so much if I just si le echo gana. Yeah. And it's been a year. Wow. Since I've done my business full time. I worked a job for like 6 months, quickly realized that it wasn't for me again. And I've just been more in the wedding industry now. Okay. So that's been getting me a lot of more bookings and a lot more recognition.
Wedding season coming up.
And it's wedding season already started. Yes, exactly. So a lot of parties. People like to party, and parties will never go away. And so I have been able to market my business a lot more, and it's been growing, and it's inconsistent when it comes to, like, you never know where money's coming from. Yeah. But money comes one way or another.
Yeah. Hey, you're a hustler, right? Yes. And so you'll make it work. Yes. So I remember going to an event that you hosted. I believe it was the end of last summer. Yeah. And it was so amazing because I remember I went with my husband, and you had this super cute setting. It was in a library on the east side. And I remember my husband and I were suckers for tapas. We love tapas. So my brother, we're blessed. I only have one brother, and we're 10 years apart. And we didn't grow up together. So we made it a commitment as adults that we would spend time together. So I visit him a lot in Monterrey, Mexico, which is where he lives. And then he comes with his family. He's been coming now for almost 5 years in a row. Every summer he comes and stays here. That. So he loves making tapas, like just trying different things. So we're always going to Costco, going to Aldi's, and finding like those specialty stuff and like trying new things. And I remember I told my husband, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for trying these tapas things. And you had the most exquisite selection. And I remember how you were so passionate, like describing the ingredients and the quality of the cheese and like the spreads. And I think I am still obsessed with, and I still have a little bit left, or I need a refill on that, by the way, it was this jalapeno spicy honey that you used. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I am so, I like, that's gold for me. Okay. When my husband's going to use some of my kids, I was like, you're going to use a little bit.
A little bit.
Do not, like, because that's like my baby and I love it. But just the like seeing you in the space, in your element, it was like so amazing because you really see this as my baby, my gift, and you give it your all. Talk to us about how that experience has been for you. Because again, I want to steer away from like, it's not a business or just a business. Like this is truly your baby. So walk us through that process.
Yeah, it really is my baby. All I think about, people be like, all I can think about is my kids. I'm like, all I can think about is my fucking business. Like, okay, like I'm just constantly like, what can I do better? What can I improve? Yeah. What can I learn? How can I do, like, how can this flow better? How can the customer experience be a lot more elevated? How can people feel special and unique and like they matter with even with food? And so we're Latinos, we love food. Oh my God. Like, and food has become such a love language throughout almost every culture outside of white people. And
we win them over, some of them, the majority.
Hey, I married a gringuita, so what can I say?
Point taken.
And so, and they love them some charcuterie, especially.
Yeah,
so
I can never say it. That
charcuterie.
Would be, yeah. See, my daughter makes fun of me because I said charcuterie.
Charcuterie. Charcuteria in Spanish.
I think that's where it comes from. I can never say it.
Yeah. And so I love my business, and I'm passionate about having people come together over a plate of food, over some tapas, over some cheese. My thing is I blend Wisconsin cheeses with Puerto Rican flavors.
Yes, you do.
And so, hey, and yeah, it's been such a journey in, learning my why and like the reason why I do what I do. And all it comes down to is just community and bringing people together. And the art of it, it's so much fun. I have so much fun doing charcuterie and making charcuterie tables and charcuterie boards and doing tastings like the one that you came to, and learning more about it, because I am not a wine connoisseur, I'm not a cheese connoisseur, but I know my 1-2s in them. But it's just been it's been a lot, and it's just been great.
Yeah, and you shine when you are going through the process. And so I'm going to take us back there to a moment, because even I'm sure you go through this process every time you're working with, whether it's clients or doing a presentation. How do you go about selecting the right products? Because that's something you talked a lot about during that process. So I can tell you I'm extremely picky. And if people already know me, I'm very picky. But I'm picky for a reason, because to me, like you said, food is sacred. And so if I'm going to taste something new, I'm not picky in the sense of I love going to Aldi's and going to that little specialty section, and how you're always finding really golden nuggets once in a while. But you explained through that whole process, you partner with farmers markets locally. You partner that honey, I think spread that you got it from someone else local. So walk through that process of how you're very intentional with your services and the quality of your products. Walk us through that process.
Yeah, so I try to in-house everything and to not outsource too much outside of big companies and whatnot. Obviously it can get expensive and it can be difficult during the seasons depending on it, but I try and get my produce from local farmers markets, especially during the summer. I try, especially my berries, because you can find those almost anywhere. And I am very selective on the type of cheeses that I get. Almost all of my cheeses are from Wisconsin. So they're Wisconsin farmers. Thankfully, even Pick and Save carries them, so it's become a lot easier to have accessibility for them and being able to purchase them. But I had gone to Door County and I did a whole big old purchase, because Door County has all the cheeses in the cheese shops, and I was able to use those for a long time for a lot of my boards and whatnot. And so I try and be very like you said, intentional, because it is sacred and it is a moment of beauty. And I will sit there for hours looking at the strawberries, making sure that they're perfect. I will sit there, make sure that the produce is, perfect and perfectly ripe and everything. And I'm very big on colors and heights and dimensions, and making sure that there's a balance to the board, that there's enough salty, enough sweet, enough of this, enough of that. So I think I've become pretty good at what I do.
You can probably spot a really good oh, that cheese is really good.
Yes.
Or this, And what about the meats? How can you distinguish? Because I'll be honest with you. My brother and I get as far as fancy as going on Costco and just getting the big pack that has all the selections. But we have noticed, believe it or not, we I remember it was 1 year we went to Aldi's, and it must have been one of those one-time limited edition whatever, and they had a similar. Oh my God, we loved it. And then we went back, and of course they didn't have them anymore because it was a one-time limited thing. But we realized after that, I was man, this is hard. How do you select what's the good salami or like the good what is that other one prosciutto. I can't even say it.
Prosciutto.
That, see, like I can't, girl.
Yes.
But you know, like finding the specialty meats as well, like how do you do that? Like, do you have a niche for it now?
So I have Restaurant Depot sells them by the pound.
Okay.
And they're like perfectly seasoned and whatnot. You can cut them yourself.
Okay.
And so I buy those big ones already and I actually cut them myself. But even the ones from Costco, girl, they're so good. Costco, not only is it such a great company and like they have good morals and they like stand on shit where they should, and like that's what I would support. If I want to support a big company, I want to support something like 100%. That. And so they have really good selections, and sometimes they have different cheeses too. That man, I got a Parmesan Gouda one time there. It was so good. To this day, they don't sell them anymore. Yeah. And I think it was like by far one of my favorite cheeses that I've had. And so you'll be having some really good finds there. And Aldi's, I have gotten a sneak peek of like the best cheeses via Aldi. And then I've just been able to source them in other places, especially in bigger bulks. Like you need them. Yeah. But when it comes to the meat, even Pick and Save has like, it's like the brands like Columbus has really good brands. There's another one that's Wisconsin, like a Wisconsin farmer that also has a meat selection that's really good that you can find at like Cermax and Pick and Save as well. So thankfully, like things are just available. I think because we live in Wisconsin too, like it's so much easier to access these items that are so unique and very good. I don't think if you went to like another state that you would find these things so accessible at a Pick and Save, you know? But I love it. It's amazing.
And it's amazing how you just go through this transformation of like knowing, and I'm assuming like you also probably do customized events, right? Like depending on what your customers are looking for, you probably do a little bit more of certain things than others in your tapas. Yeah. Do you have like a signature, like let's say for events or things that people, you know, come to you? Is there like a signature, like kind of tapas or I don't know, like a dish or something that you specialize in?
So there's like cheeses and meats that I always include. Okay. So like you're always going to see some manchego. You're always going to see some guava paste. You're always going to see plantain chips. Yes. You're always going to see the Aldi crackers, because they're hungry. The best crackers. Aldi has the best crackers. No one can tell me otherwise. I've tried Pick and Save. I've tried Costco. I've tried Sendix. I've tried it all. Aldi has the best crackers.
Yes, I get the, what is it, cranberry something?
Yes, I know exactly. The dark ones.
Yes, and I got that recommendation from you.
Oh, there we go.
I was like, these are so good. Yeah. I remember I asked you, you were like, girl, you won't believe it. I was like, no way. Yes. And ever since, and they have sea salt something, and they have like different variations. Yes. And I think that cranberry one is like my favorite one.
I love that. Yes, it is. They have really good crackers there. And I forgot what the question was. So.
Just like if you have like a specialty.
Yes. So so those I always include brie in mine too. So like those are items that like you always papaya. You're always gonna see a papaya on my boards as well, especially on a grazing table. And so like those I
saw that one on that tasting part because it was like off season.
No, because it was a tasting, so I don't do a lot of like those big fruits and whatnot. But like you're always gonna see those on a platter. And so the thing with my business is that since I'm growing and elevating, it will come to the point where I'm gonna start doing like small bites that are always included in like a table. So like sandwichito de mezcla, which is a Puerto Rican thing. God. Like those, I want those to always be on a table because people don't know what they don't know, you know? And so like if I put them in there, they might like it or they might not, but at least I give them a little bit of home for me. Yes. And I have a whole menu too. Like I don't do just like charcuterie. I have like small bites, which makes it more of like a tapas experience. So I do arroz con andule, I do mofongo, I do like Puerto Rican dishes. I do mac and cheese. I do buffalo chicken dip. I do desserts as well. So
and you include them as part of your selection.
Yes, and it's like part of a customized experience for the client.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, mi gente. So Again, Tapas Ricas, they can find you in every platform.
Every platform,
okay.
yes.
Do you have
like
a
TikTok,
website?
yes, tapasricas.com.
Okay.
And it's tapas.ricas for almost every platform.
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about, like, again, going through the process, because I'm one that I'm like, listen, I'd rather pay a good service to get a good quality than to try to experiment myself, because I know what has been experimenting for me ends up being a disaster. So what is one of the things that would you say right now, like pricing is crazy?
Oh man, everything is so expensive.
And especially, things have getting really worse, over like, war and everything happening. How have you managed that with your business?
I unfortunately have had to raise my prices. I usually
like everyone
else, and you know what? We can't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
It's just with the times and with food is expensive and produce is expensive, and so I have just had to make sure that I accommodate my prices where it makes sense, where I'm getting a profit out of it, and I'm able to.
I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and I have insurances. I have a commercial kitchen that I need to pay for, and I have it's not just ya se lo hace en la casa. No, this is full on legal insured business. So there's a lot more that comes into it on a monthly basis that is not just the food and the quality of the food. It's so much more to it. And so I've had to adjust my prices to make sure that I am able to, it's my full-time job now. So I take it very serious, and gracias a Dios I've had no complaints. And if it's not for you, if it's out of your budget, then it's out of your budget. Then that's okay.
You can go eat caviar somewhere else where your price and your wallet can afford it. Yeah. And I'm going to go back to that, because that is something that I highlight a lot in our audience. I'm blessed that a lot of our audience are entrepreneurs themselves. And so they understand what it is to be a hustler and what it is to have a business and do it from the heart and pour your heart into that business. And so when people sometimes really go like, oh my God, that's so expensive. And I'm like, my first thought goes into like, you seriously spend money on nonsense, but you rather not spend it in something quality. And I can vouch, like, this girl really does quality stuff. And you're not also just getting good quality. You got a full-on service that comes that like, lo respalda, like you said. It's not just say, I'm going to do this dish for you and that's it. Like, no, there's a quality, there's a thoughtfulness, intentionality, and everything's guaranteed. And it's good. It like, for me, things like that, when a business does that, truly, it's like the price is a no-brainer to me. Because sometimes we, let's be honest, spend more in like takeout or unhealthy stuff, or like, how many of us don't go to like junk food, and we end up spending so much more money than doing something quality. And especially nowadays, I would even dare to say, like, if you're hosting an event, like, it's so convenient just to go that route, because you're really giving people a variety of things that they can enjoy, and they're authentic and they're good and they're fresh.
Yes.
And oftentimes, I was sharing with you that I was actually reading a statistic. Actually, I want to read it, because believe it or not, this is like legit, people. I'm not bluffing here. So let me just read you this. It's something that I was reading over, like the economic impact when people think about tapas. Sometimes, and I was guilty of that. I was like, oh, es una botana. It's like a snack. No, it's not. It's like an actual, like, delicious, signature dish that came from Spain. Yeah. So about in Spain only, about 70% of Spaniards consume tapas. That's like part of their social lifestyles. Yeah. And, it's like for us, like eating tacos in Mexico, it's like it's a lifestyle that people consume. And the economic impact, like the global tapas bar market, especially as of 2025, so last year, it was valued at approximately $14.7 billion. Oh, wow. And it is projected that by 2033, it's going to grow to $26.3 billion. And especially in Europe, it accounts for 39% of the market led by Spain.
Oh, wow.
So when we're talking about food and changing the narrative and consumption, like tapas, maybe for some people it might be like, oh, it's a new and trendy thing. No, it's not a new and trendy thing. It's smart. It's the right way to host and do things and offer a variety of freshness and quality. And it's a no-brainer because you don't have to worry about all the messiness of all the other big stuff. And trust me, your guests will thank you because I have firsthand experience being at events where some host companies like will have tapas, and it just makes a world of a difference. It just gives it, you know, like a different sense and atmosphere, and it's more like, you know, you
don't feel pressure to eat a whole meal.
Absolutely.
Or getting so dirty because you have to like
fill you up.
And they fill you up. Grilled cheese will fill you up.
Absolutely. But this is amazing. I'm so happy to see and hear how it's grown and become more of like our full-time gig, and I wish you nothing but the luck that it continues growing.
Thank you.
For mi gente, you know, like if you wanna, you know, have an event and have it hosted, you know, reach out to Tapas Ricas. They can give you a quote and personalize it, I'm assuming, based on whatever you want to do. What would you say is one of the most fun events that you've done when you're like, okay, this is like really cool?
I love weddings.
Okay.
Like I love doing weddings, and I love the themed wedding. So like when they have a mood board and I have the ability to like create the experience with the mood board. I am very like, that's where I'm just a sucker for it. Like a big ass grazing table where I have the freedom to do whatever I want in it, and I can follow a color scheme. That's perfect for me.
Is there one that like we will name?
I just did a wedding.
Okay.
It was for my couple, Ashley, and I forgot her husband's name. But I did a table for them, and they had like a tropical pink and yellow themed, and I found some marigolds at Restaurant Depot. They have really nice florals there. And I was able to like decorate it really nice with that, with the marigolds. And then like,
we'll upload pictures to the YouTube so people can see the images.
Yes. And I had like the papayas and the green grapes, and like I found these beautiful kiwis that were different at Costco, and so it just came to life beautifully.
Can't wait to see how the decor. See, this is what I mean. It's like you truly make it a whole event.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing that. So we're coming to an end here, but what would you like to leave the audience with?
So in September 4th, I am having a Big 5 celebration for my business.
Yay.
It's going to be a charity-based event. We're donating all of our funds to Courage Plus. It's an LGBTQ organization that focuses on our youth and providing safe spaces for our youth. And so I have that going on. It's going to be a pay-as-you-can ticket, and then it's going to be at the Gray House Studio in Wauwatosa. So more details on my Instagram to come in the next 2 weeks. And so I'm super excited for that. And I have workshops throughout the summer as well. I have a workshop June 17th in Racine. So if you want more information, please check out my Instagram. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. But just stay up to date on my social media and you'll see all the things that I am doing.
Awesome. I love it. And I know, like, especially I think in the fall season and leading into like the holidays, you had quite a few things going on. And I want to commend you for that, because something that I know that you haven't invited me to many things is you also do a lot of community service and support and giving back. So shout out to you for doing that. And I am a huge believer that when you're a giving person, like the universe and God multiplies it for you. Amen. So keep being that beacon for our world.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've had such a blast.
Of course. It was such an honor having you, and wish you the best of lucks. And make sure you're following them, Tapas Ricas. Thank you so much for sharing your story and opening up to us and your vulnerability. and bringing your talents into our community. So it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, mi gente. So that was another episode. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're clicking and tagging and sharing a lot of our content, because we are here to support our businesses. So we will see you till the next episode. Have a good one.